So these are the Copa Pure 2, which is one of the more disappointing football boots for me in 2024, but they have updated them with the brand new Copa Pure 3. And in today's video, we're gonna go and talk about all of the differences between the two boots and why I think these are gonna be a pretty early contender for boot of the year, because they are unbelievable looking, at least in photos. Let's get them unboxed. So the Adidas Copa line has been around for obviously forever with the Copa Mundial, but the Copa Pure line has been around for a couple years now. This is their third generation. You get a really nice special edition box or limited edition box with this kind of teaser or luxe pack, which I absolutely love. You get the Copa Elite FG teaser. They are in my usual 9 US, which follows from the previous generation as well. A Euro 42 2/3, a UK 8.5, and a 27 centimeters. So you get a really nice box that comes, their new, this is like their new special edition boxes. You get this with the David Beckham boots. I got this with the also the Bad Bunny and Messi edition. And here we go. So Copa Pure 3, nice little graphic there with the white and the gold. This is a very nice bag as well. Very kind of OG Nike bag, if you will. And here we go. Oh my days. Let's flip those around. Okay. Wow. Look at those. From a design perspective, these look absolutely fabulous, I think. The new silhouette looks so much better than these. Look at the difference. Oh, like, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Very, very nice. Very updated heel area, which is much needed. I hope this actually works this time. The upper, we'll talk about in a minute, same knit as the point or the plus generation, and then a new sole plate, which we'll talk about as well. Let's get the other one out of the box and we will get going with this review. Now, from the standpoint of updated upper, the upper is still the Fusion Skin leather upper. So that's the calf leather in the forefoot that's really nicely treated. It's very, very soft. It's much softer than the previous generation. Well, maybe not much softer, but definitely softer out of the box. And then it seamlessly kind of transitions into a synthetic leather midfoot, which actually feels quite nice. I do think that Fusion Skin is a nice material. It feels good on feet, and it does do a nice job of feeling like the whole boot is a cohesive package. Now, similar to the Plus model, they do have, from the previous generation, they do still have the prime knit tongue. This has a little bit of a different construction. Instead of being kind of, I don't know, knit into the actual upper, it's now sort of stitched into the inside of this lacing area. Let's actually take this out and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So if we unlace these, you'll be able to see, and unfortunately I don't have the previous generation Plus model with me because I sold them a little while ago, but if you can see here, they do have, it is stitched kind of to the inside, which is still going to create a nice wrapped sensation around your foot. Who knows if it's going to feel any different than the previous generation Plus model. This tongue though reminds me a lot of the Tiempo Legend 9 construction, where the tongue was sort of, instead of being a part of the upper like the Plus model of the Copa Pure 2, these are going to be much more, it's like a slightly different construction anyway. And then you do have a little pad right there, almost like a, I don't know if this will be like a touch pod or something like that, but very, very cool. But overall, very clean design, very sleek looking. Let's get these back and laced up because I just want to make sure it looks clean for you guys on camera. Then from a heel area perspective, this is the one massive complaint that I had about the previous generation. They had two different heel areas. So from the Copa Pure 1, which had a really interesting heel area that was a little more similar to this, I would say, but just really horribly designed. They actually went to a much more neutral heel area in the Copa Pure 0.1, Copa Pure 2.1, but then on the Copa Pure 2 Plus, they had a different heel area than this. And I thought this heel area was fine. It's pretty chunky and kind of, I don't know, it didn't work as well as I thought it was going to straight out of the box. But now they've gone for a much more sleek design with some heel pads in the heel. And then you also get the Ortholite removable sock liner as well, which will pull out. So there you go. You get the Ortholite sock liner. That's that kind of dual density foam that you're gonna really feel, I think, underfoot. There's quite a bit of padding here through the midfoot as well, which is really nice. And I'm really hopeful that this boot just feels a lot more comfortable than the previous generation straight out of the box. I found the previous gen to feel a little bit wonky from a shape perspective. And then once you broke it in, it just didn't feel as seamless as I think the idea was for the Copa Pure, which, I don't know, take it as you will, but it wasn't my favorite boot by just a country mile. It was just not a boot I thought was very good in general. And then moving on to the sole plate, which is now called the comfort frame. So that's been updated since the control frame. They used to use the torsion frame, excuse me, the torsion frame here. And then you can see the comfort frame, which is now here, which has moved to a much more, instead of those half moon shaped studs all over, it's now conical studs in the heel. You've got some conical studs here on the lateral side of the forefoot, 2 conical studs on kind of that big toe area on the medial side of the forefoot. And then you've got 3 of these sort of curved studs in the midfoot for a little bit more aggressiveness and more pivot moving, with a sole plate that, from a design perspective, has a little bit of inspiration. At least it looks like. These lines remind me of that Copa Sense sole plate and the Copa Pure 2. So it is a similar stud layout in general. Like, for the most part, that's about the same, although I do think you're gonna feel a little bit more balanced on the comfort frame just because it's been designed with a little bit more kind of overall neutrality as opposed to the torsion frame, which of course was used for their agility boot back in the day. Decent amount of structure to the forefoot, pretty decent snap as well. So I think overall as a package, this Copa Pure 3 is lining up to be a very, very good football boot. The only thing that pretty much would make this a dud is if it fits like crap, even though it looks it just looks so much better than the previous gen. We've already seen now 2 different colorway launches for the Copa Pure 3, and both look really good in my opinion. I think this new design looks really clean. The fusion skin has that beautiful soft look to it. On Prem players like Declan Rice and stuff, he's actually been able to move to this boot as opposed to sticking with his old either 18 or 19, like Copa 19 or Copa 18.1s. And so that's a really good sign when the pros start moving over. And yes, I know they get custom boots and all that stuff, but even with the Copa Pure 2 models and Copa Pure 1, he was still kind of going back to his old boots. And the fact that he's now wearing these and seems to be pretty happy wearing them is a pretty good sign. So without further ado, guys, let's hop into the on-feet portion of the video. I want to talk about sizing, which I would imagine, even though the sole plate in the last has changed, the sizing is probably about the same. And then we'll go and talk about performance a little bit and what I think are the biggest changes and benefits to those changes on feet as well. Let's hop into it. All right, fam, here we are in the backyard, and yes, it's finally here, the Tryon portion of the Copa Pure 3. Pretty excited about this boot, to be honest. I really disliked Copa 1 and Copa 2. Copa 1 was okay. Copa 2 was just, heel area. So let's get these on, because honestly, they look really nice and very sleek, and the thin material here on the fusion skin on the midfoot feels really good as well. So let's jump straight into them, see what they're like. Ooh, okay. Hell yeah. Definitely a similar shape to the previous generation, but the heel area actually improves the sensation of what they feel like on feet quite a bit. Yeah, wow. As you can see, there is some bowing in the upper. So the upper is kind of trying to flex and mold. The fusion skin will mold to my foot, so no problems there. It'll end up looking totally normal. But wow, these feel like a big improvement. 9 US went true to size, and I've got about a half of a pinky width on the very end. That's perfect. No need for anything more than that. God, they feel really locked in much better. And that heel area, look at how snug it kind of fits my Achilles. I think they did such a better job with this heel area than the previous generation. Very, very nice. Okay. They definitely, yeah, massive, massive improvement over the previous generation, no doubt whatsoever in my mind. I'm very excited to play test these and kind of get into the new Copa, because the other thing that they also did was they made the lace loop down here much further into the ankle area, which creates, I'm trying to tie the laces pretty tight right now just to give you an idea, but this lace loop used to be kind of halfway between these two. And so the sensation it gives you on feet is actually a lot more locked in than the previous model. And even though the shape doesn't fit my foot perfectly right now, it does feel like it's going to mold much, much better. And the heel is just so dramatically improved. I love what they've done with the heel area. Feels a lot better. Obviously, part of what we have to test is whether, if you're changing directions, is it going to make a really big difference in that heel with the lockdown and stuff. We will test that out, obviously, as I get into the playtest of these boots. But man, what a massive improvement these are compared to the previous generation. I am really excited to see what they do with the laceless heel and what they do with the 0.1 heel, if that's even a thing. So here's the full look at what the boots look like. Very, very nice, honestly, on feet. I think they look really clean, really classy, especially in this gold colorway, and in the other color that I've seen, the white with the red and black accents. Those look really mint as well. So it's looking really good for the new Copa. I am very impressed. The upper feels thinner than the previous generation, even though it feels similar. So it is still fusion skin, but it does feel a little bit thinner, particularly in the toe box area. Maybe that's just me, and I haven't worn the Copa in a really long time, but it does feel a little bit thinner than those, and a little bit more pliable. As you can see, I can move my toes no problem in these, which is a really good sign. And then the heel is a massive improvement. That's really nice. And then the sole plate feels really good. To be fair, I really like the torsion frame, so I don't know. It's up to you guys whether you like it or not, but the sole plate feels very balanced, very good on feet. So touch on the ball also feels really nice. I do like the way that the knit material in the midfoot and that little pad that sits on kind of that touch spot creates a little bit of a pingy sensation, and then the leather feels fantastic. The fusion skin upper honestly does a really good job, and I think Nike, take notes and use calfskin leather instead of whatever the hell bull Fly Touch Plus is, because I think a company like Adidas, that's your direct rival, direct competitor, is doing something like this with the Copa, as well as apparently the Copa Icon's amazing as well, and they're doing something that's actually leather and it feels really good on feet, even though the majority of this boot is actually synthetic. So regardless of kind of where you're at in your boot journey, if you are somebody who wants to pick up a pair of leather boots, or if you were disappointed with the previous generation of Copa, even though you really like the Copa series, I would highly recommend going and trying a pair of the new Copa Pure 3s on. These are genuinely a big improvement. I am not a fan of the Copa Pure 1 and 2, but the 3 is a big improvement in my opinion. No wonder a lot of pros are super happy wearing these as opposed to kind of previous generation, like I was talking about Declan Rice earlier. Bernardo Silva obviously wore the regular Copas, but I would imagine that these are just a massive uptick. And the way that they've constructed the lacing system with laces higher into my ankle, as well as this beautifully constructed heel area that's a lot thinner, lower profile, and it just fits you a lot more snug. Man, this is going to be really fun to play in, I think, and I'm very much looking forward to taking these out for a ride at the pitch. You guys will definitely see a play test. Not sure if it'll be on synthetic or regular grass yet. Haven't really decided, but man, these are... I think I like a Copa for the first time in a really long time. I'll just leave the ball. But yeah, these actually fit really well. I am having a little bit of hot spot right there, but that is to be expected, especially with the 3 stripes that are all like a proper synthetic material that don't stretch. You are going to get a little bit of help with the lateral stability in that area of the boot, but overall, like generally speaking, the shape of this boot fits me really well, and it's only going to go up from here. It's only going to get better as these boots break in, and so I am very, very excited to see how quickly I can break these in, because it feels like I'm going to be able to play in these pretty quickly. So if I haven't answered any of your questions, leave them down in the comment section below. And that is going to wrap up today's review of the Copa Pure 3. Massive improvement, Adidas. Well done. You guys are absolutely crushing it right now with the Copa line, as well as, honestly, the Predator line update was amazing. And what else? The F50 is okay. That needs an update. And yeah, I mean, look, on the right track, moving in the right direction, which is super sick. As always, be awesome. Take care. I'll see y'all in the next video.